saw this as I was heading into town. I just thought it was real pretty. So I figured I'd stop and shoot it. Anyway, headed downtown. Okay, go for it.
What would you like to know first? Okay, basically Winnipeg, before it was, the city of Winnipeg was 13 smaller communities. All these uniforms represent all the different communities. And if you look at the patch up there, the 13 stars represent the communities before amalgamation. The fort actually represents Winnipeg before amalgamation. And the crocus is for Manitoba on a prairie field.
Okay.
And all these uniforms go back to prior to 1974. All the communities were all separate, all had their own private, well not private, but individual police departments.
You mean all of Manitoba was like that?
No, this is just basically all of Winnipeg right now is made up of all of these communities.
Oh, okay.
So this is just Winnipeg before 1974. It was made up of 13 smaller communities and the RCMP looked after one. But all these uniforms again represent all of those communities before 1974. All the stuff along the bottom is just kind of stuff that goes with the different departments.
Right.
And then in 1974, they amalgamated into one city, basically metropolitan Winnipeg, city of Winnipeg. They went to this uniform and this patch.
I got it. I don't mind you being in it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that's the city of Winnipeg. Prior to that, basically in 1670, the Hudson Bay Company came to Canada.
Right.
And Rupert's Land was basically overseen by Hudson Bay Company had their own basic law enforcement sort of thing. So
Okay.
and then in 1870, they went to the Manitoba Provincial Police. This gentleman here is the Mr. Constantine. Is Charles Constantine was the first chief of the Manitoba Provincial Police. This was the charter that the government basically gave the power of Canada to Canada from the Crown. Mr. Constantine actually went to the military for a short time. This is part of his regalia from his military time.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to swing around this way, these are basically the police services of Winnipeg and Manitoba, and along the bottom is some of the stuff that went with the provincial police. Some of the first police chiefs, so they go kind of in this direction here. These are the chiefs of police and some of their artifacts that came with them. And then on this side, the Northwest Mounted Police basically moved into Manitoba in 1873. So they came across as they were coming through for the March West, they called it.
Okay.
City of Winnipeg in 1874 became the City of Winnipeg. So in 1874 it began as the city. This is basically a map of downtown, which is very similar. The streets are all very similar to now. Main Street, they called it Portage. Portage the Prairie Road is now Portage Avenue.
Okay.
So basically that area of Winnipeg is unchanged from the 1870s.
Tell you what, your roads are rough. They're beating the hell out of
Yes,
beating the hell out of my car.
Yep. These are some of the newspaper articles from the time. These are actually actual prisoner records from the era.
Oh, really?
They used to write everything down. Some of these books, depending on how the year went, some of them are this thick, some of them are this thick, depending on how many arrests they made throughout that year. This is an original badge. A gopher badge, we call it. It's kind of a blow up of it. You can see how big it is, but that's the badge from 1874. One of the most notable things from the city of Winnipeg was the general strike in 1919. Basically a bunch of, kind of when unions were coming into being.
Right.
They were trying to make for better working conditions, and they decided to go on strike. Even the police, some of the police were trying to get into a union. Those who were trying to do that were told to leave or go away from the union. Some of them left. They actually hired special constables that basically tried to control some of the chaos going on in the city.
What is that, a billy stick?
That's a billy club that was issued to them. Yep, they were given a small badge.
I hate to get hit by that.
And a armband and a billy club, and that's how they controlled the crowds at the time. Kind of a period correct uniform.
This is what I'm used to seeing right here.
Yeah. You can see the Bobby helmet. We have several of those in the department. This is again a period correct uniform. You'll notice the pants have a thin piping of a red stripe on the side.
Right.
They had that up until the mid 1970s, and then they switched to a fatter stripe.
Okay.
These are all the chiefs that have been here. Some of the more notable ones are noted down here. They're Charles McIver, was quite decorated. All of his badges.
First pistol I've seen in Canada.
Yeah. And that's actually a 1911. If you're
Wow.
familiar with firearms, that's a
No.
Colt 1911.
What's the saber all about?
This is just a ceremonial piece that was issued again, commemorated the 1874 to 1974 when they switched to Winnipeg Police,
Okay.
amalgamating all of the city. This is one of the more notable chiefs. Chief Norm Stewart was from 1937 to 1981 when he was on the job. He attended the FBI Academy. He was decorated, well decorated, even by the Queen.
When you say the FBI, you talking about in the United States?
Yep. Yeah, he attended the FBI Academy in Quantico for some
Oh,
training.
really? That's
Yep.
where I'm from.
Oh, are you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was
Virginia.
his.
Quantico's right down the street.
Oh, there you go. These are the rest of the chiefs, and currently we're up to Danny Smythe. This is our current chief. This is
Okay.
our just past chief. They have a cabinet for him, but they haven't filled anything up in there yet.
Oh, did he pass away?
No. He just retired.
Okay.
He's most of these fellas, basically from about here on, are all still alive. They're all around.
What is this over here?
This is they basically put it together a piece for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They police the province of Manitoba right now. We don't have provincial police anymore.
Okay, they're like state troopers back home, right?
No, they're more like they're a federal police. They're a federal police department.
Okay.
They contract to the province to do the policing in areas that don't have their own police departments. Even to this day, they're still out there today. They all around Winnipeg. There's RCMP all over the place.
I've never seen one of them. I'd like to see one in person. Hey, what
Go on
can
the
I
highway,
say?
go speeding. They'll find you. Okay, so Winnipeg was actually the very first place in North America that had an emergency call system. They called it 999 at the time, what we would know today as 911. Winnipeg had the very first one. This depicts the call center at the time. We had a deaf teletype, we had a radio communication dispatch, and they were dispatched from the 999 system at the time. This is the original board from the City of Winnipeg's emergency call center, original system. So this is an actual piece of the jail cell. This is one part of several pieces that I'll show you. I can show you afterwards. But this came from the North End Station. It's still used from 1911 to 1966. This is the actual inside. This is what you got, was a cot. If you had another person in there, there's a cot on top. Sink.
Oh, wow,
toilet.
didn't you see that?
That's all there is to it. And this door is closed, and it locks by this device here.
Cool.
Okay?
Okay.
So the bomb truck here, this is actually an actual vehicle that Winnipeg had up until 1974. It's an old military ambulance that was converted into a bomb truck. In 74 they got new equipment. This was sold, and it ended up becoming part of the Winnipeg Rowing Club's arsenal of vehicles. They had cut the inside of the box out for launching boats. It had a fifth wheel in it, and it was made into a launching vehicle for their canoe club sort of thing. This is an actual robot. This is one of the first robots that Winnipeg had. Very archaic for its time, but it still works. We have the control box for it. It still all works. Bomb suits from the time. This was recovered. They found the original vehicle all cut up, but they found the donor vehicle, so it was taken to a shop, and basically all the body work was done. Everything was stripped down. A complete restoration of this vehicle back to its original state. They maintained the front because it was the original truck. Part of the back is from the donor vehicle, but all of this is original to period correct, as best they could get to it. We have all kinds of pictures. These are actual motorcycles from the departments. Back in the wintertime, they used to drive these in the winter. So that's what the sidecar was for. They would wear the long coat, the helmet with the flaps on the side, and the heavier gloves, the galoshes for boots. But they would put the sidecar on for the winter, and drive it around all winter with the sidecar on. Come summer, they take the sidecar off. And
What'd they have the sidecar on for?
Just for balance. That was
What's
all.
the deal on this three-wheeler?
This was used, again, they were used all year round. This was, again, to make it so it could balance in the wintertime. This was did a lot of parking patrol and stuff like that with this one. And this is an original motorcycle, still used up until a few years ago. Like I was explaining before, the red light would come on when the sergeant was trying to call a constable to basically answer the phone, or they would come and check in. This is all original. This thing weighs about almost 1,000 pounds.
And they only had one on every 3 corners.
They had one about every 3 corners, about every 3 blocks. Yeah.
Wow.
An original buffalo coat that they wore throughout the winter. The armband was basically had the officer's number on it, and a fur hat.
Okay.
Original mounted patrol. The horse was donated to us by one of the restaurants in town. They have a Western type theme.
Right.
So they donated the horse for us, and we put a rider on it. Original Indian motorcycles. These 2 motorcycles are basically on loan to
Oh, I didn't even see the other one.
Yeah. They're on loan from a private collector. Between the 2, these are probably $200,000 worth of motorcycles here, these 2.
Back home, they cost a
They
fortune.
probably die for them, eh? The Winnipeg Police Pipe Band, recognized around the world. They just came back from Ireland from a tattoo there.
Oh, did they?
Yep, I forget where they placed, don't remember now. But anyway, they were known worldwide. British hovercraft. This was brought to Winnipeg in the mid-70s. I actually helped restore this.
Oh, did you?
They found it. It was only used for a short period of time because we have so much water here. We have 2 rivers that culminate basically just about 3 blocks that way. This was actually a test device. They sent it to us to try and test it. The unfortunate thing was it doesn't hold much. It only holds about 400 pounds, 500 pounds with 2 passengers. It was impossible to even bring somebody on board. They could go out and they could give them a life preserver and hold on to them until an actual boat came. But it was thought of that because it could be rapid response, you can go from land onto water. We have all kinds of boat launches around. They would launch this thing onto the water and use it for fast rescue. But it didn't really work out. They kind of went with it for a bit. They recommended the company not to try anymore. So it didn't quite meet their expectations. 1925 Rio Speedwagon, original, again, all been restored. It was restored. It has won several awards. It's basically right back again to how it was back in 1925s into the early 30s.
Pretty wild.
And then the original bicycle and uniform of the period, correct. Basically in the early 1900s, late 1800s, 1900s. That's how they patrolled the city, was on a bicycle and wearing that uniform kind of the way you see it.
And wearing that billy club.
You betcha, that was their weapon of choice at the time.
Oh, they didn't have a gun?
Nope, nope.
Wow.
Yeah, they never got firearms until the 30s-ish, give or take, so yeah.
I'm at Birds Hill Provincial Park. I'm probably about 30 miles north of Winnipeg. But anyway, I figure I'm gonna kick back and relax here for a couple of days. Me and my little poo babies. Got a real nice camp spot. Got an electric, of course. So, kick back, charge my battery up, relax. Little man. Look at little man. And they're my pretty girl Amber. They're my buddies. They are my traveling buddies. The traveling duo. They love it. I got their little playpen that I got at PetSmart, and usually I cook outside. If I got electric, I'd just rather cook outside and not stink. Largest park in Manitoba. Got 470 units. And this is where I am staying for the next couple of days. Just gonna kick back and relax and enjoy myself and have a good fire tonight and eat a good meal and just kick back. This is the campground I'm staying at because they have several ones, and straight ahead is where you pay for your camping. I've already paid for 2 days, so I'm not gonna stop. No reason to, but anyway, you go in that building right there and you register, and the little lady in there takes your money, and then you go to your camp spot. They do have a camp store. Got pretty good selection of stuff in there. They got propane they sell over there. Way over yonder they got a payphone. Right here they sell wood, $9 a bundle, but pretty good sized bundle. They even got a little sandbox for the kids playing while you're out front eating a snack. And there are the shower rules. I just wanted to check the time, but oh, you have to pay for showers. That's not a bad shower. I'm not real keen on having to pay for it, but it is what it is. $1 $3 minutes, $2 6 minutes. This is a campground I stayed in today and tomorrow, but that's another Scamp trailer right there. I stopped and talked with that guy. His name is Jim. He's from Winnipeg. 2008 Scamp trailer, he told me. But anyway, I'm in a lot more back in the wood shop myself, but anyway, they were filled to capacity this past weekend. But believe it or not, a deer just ran out in front of me when I was coming down through here, and I was like, what? It was a little doe, but anyway, it kind of like made my day. But my spot's kind of like what you got right there, where I backed up in it. But anyway, that's the park, and that's gonna be it for today. Have a good evening. Bye.